I think what ultramarathon offers competitors is just something different. It's like a pilgrimage. They're in the race for several hours, sometimes several days, so it's more of an experience rather than a marathon. The weather isn't going to be all that bad, unfortunately. But if you do see somebody who is a little bit hypothermic, or they're not looking very well at all, try and get them into somewhere warm ASAP. Going on to the actual day's events, Dilys will explain more in depth what's going to happen. Once again though, thanks ever so much.
The build up to this year's race was quite exciting. I think Huw's social media activities help create that. I think what's different about the Winter Ultra is that we can add the element of our weather patterns, our changeable weather patterns, the inclement weather, the weather that was forecast was promising to be quite dire. The tides, although they're predictable, can provide an added element. And Huw prefers it the more wintry, the woollier, the wilder the better.
Start clapping them on to encourage them to, look guys, you need to step it up a bit to get into your, I think, the first year, 2016, was a punt. You've got to take risks. When it comes to adventure, you have to take calculated risks. But if there is like a kind of, this hasn't been done before, this is on a coastal path, this is on the Land's End of the Llyn Peninsula, let's try that one. We had people signing up. The first one we had 47 people sign up, and I can't thank the originals enough for turning up.
Dwi'n deg efo hwn o blaen o.
So ti wedi gwneud penllyn ultra blaen?
No do.
O, gynta.
Yeah.
So you've had a look at the starter list?
No, I didn't see one, but I know Gwyn will turn up because he'll be annoyed that I took his course record because I told him about it at the track afterwards. So dig. But he's a cracking runner. So we've got
and then we get this lovely little game of people waiting to the last minute to see who's in, and people wanting to retain their lead, people who want to challenge the lead, or the course best. So it was an interesting couple of weeks up to the lead up. The lead up was quite interesting because we had a few previous winners returning. We had last year's winner who wanted to retain his championship. So it was quite exciting.
What races has he done before then?
I've done this summer one of days.
I thought I recognised it. What year did you do that?
Just this summer, George and Pete.
Yeah. Because what we've always had the mindset of is addressing any challenges before the actual event starts. So predominantly mandatory kit. So the autonomy of an athlete, that they prepare their kit, they have to take a med kit that's relevant to any of their aches and pains, but also we've got a road book that's been written. They have trackers so we can find them. We set up the team of marshals, which is its own sort of community here, a few months in advance. So in terms of challenges, the Winter Ultra is sort of like a byproduct of all the other races that we've learned from, and we're able to put that into place to make sure on the day there isn't any challenges apart from the weather and the terrain, which the competitors get to look after and enjoy.
And you just see that tiny little pin sticking out. The thing is, you won't see it because, you should be. What time are you looking at tomorrow?
8.5 hours, hopefully.
Well, then what changed in 2019?
For me, in 2019, I was diagnosed 4 weeks before the Winter Ultra. I was rushed to hospital with cancer, neuroendocrine cancer, and my what I thought was my heart valve was failing. So yeah, 2019, my entire life just took a complete shift. It's very weird to hear the word I was lucky, but I was very lucky the fact that the same time I was diagnosed with neuroendocrine cancer, I was in the middle of organising the Llwybr Winter. So it wasn't just, I had what's called in psychological kind of world, something that's called future focusing. So I was focusing on something that was a positive event. Since then, you know, I was a healthy ultra runner. That's gone. I've had triple heart valve surgery just before COVID. I was bedbound for several months. Had a defib that ended up in a clot. You know, I take my meds daily. I'm also going through something that's called PRRT treatment at the moment, which is to help the symptoms. But I've got inoperable cancer, so it's not curable, but it is manageable sort of thing. So it's completely changed my life, 2019.
I have taken on a few more responsibilities since Huw has taken a few steps back or a few steps sideways. But Huw very much pulls the strings. This is Huw's concept, this is Huw's baby, and I love everything about it.
You know, it's good, you know, we want, you know, it's what you want. You want people to go out there and smash it, but whether, I know, maybe, I think we've got a plan, but not sure entirely whether it will come in yet. We have a plan, don't we?
Let's go off and murder everyone.
I think that's the murdering bit, but we have a plan, but we just can't tell anybody yet.
Take everyone to dark waters.
Ever so much, all of you, for signing up. First of all, I've got some really bad news. It's going to be a nice day. Gwynfor, our photographer, will be photoshopping a storm or rain in your photos today. So if you look pensive and like angry whenever you see Gwynfor, we're going to do a bit of housekeeping. I know you're all very, very excited. Whenever I used to be an ultra runner, I wouldn't be able to hear or remember anything the race director said, but please stick with me just for about 5 minutes. So make sure you know your bib number. If you have a look at your bib number as well, if you look down, you'll see the elevation of the course. You see it? Yeah. It's also got on there where the honesty books are. Okay? What's an honesty book? At various locations along the course, there's an honesty book. Rip out a page from it and hand it into the next checkpoint. If you don't, you've got a 2-hour penalty. It's as simple as that. If you're not feeling 100% and you want a DNF, which is another word for fuck this, I'm going for a pint, please let us know, okay? What questions have you got?
Hopefully I'll have done a good enough job at the pre-race briefing to scare the shit out of them. I think in race briefings for me, you want to give them a row, because whenever I was a runner, I wouldn't listen to a race briefing because I was too busy thinking, oh, I'm going to pack this, I pack that. So, you know, they'll have sunk in that they need to get the honesty books. They need to make sure they got mandatory kit. They need to have their light, their head torch on. So they'll be buzzing. They'll be ready to get charged, especially if the weather's rubbish. It's just great. It's just great fun. The course entices them in. It's like, hello, come and join me on my ultramarathon course. Nice and flat, bit of headland, lovely. and then as they get to Llwybr, if we have got a winter tide, they'll have to swim a bit or wade, and then they go up the steps that are chiselled into the headland of Llwybr. That, for me, is one of my favourite bits, is just seeing the faces on people as they go up there whenever they realise, oh hang on, we've got an ultra race that we're in.
Tam tuch.
Pobl. What do we have to do?
Just tear a page out. Oh my god, and it's good. I'm doing a bit of a tourist, sorry. What a photo opportunity.
Bak ya. Okej, nu ska det ta igång igen och börja göra det kvar i din hus.
Ja, vi kan lova för att det blir bra. Ja, att man det går på Llwybr nu den avsnitt.
Vi sitter med sötråd.
Man måste inte vi vet inte.
Ja, men då tar jag börja nu.
Du mig på fick mig till en annan dag.
The lions get when the going gets tough, love it.
Yeah, I think because the news of being diagnosed was so raw in 2019, whenever we put the Winter Ultra on for the second time, it's a goal each year that I'm going to be there. Future focusing, which is so important. So I'm going to be there this year.
Just got the first coming up at checkpoint 1. John Shield on form. Well done, John. I know. Well done, John.
But the significance is I want to be there each year, and that's something that's just come from within, because I'm quite, you know, the summer events, they've been going for like 6 years now. It's almost as if your kids are all in school, but with the winter one, it's as if it has become me in a sense. You know, I've done the full route myself.
Go on, son. Yes.
Stake on for the record.
Yes, there is.
And then they go towards Garn Fadryn. Garn Fadryn is like a little hilled valley between two hills, and you can see both sides, coast to coast, you can see both sides of the Llwybr Peninsula. So whenever they're running there's a sense of, whenever I was recceing it and when I used to run that segment, there's a whole sense of your humanity, your breathing, your just whole body experience, and the wonderment of the views. That is, for me, it's just a really, really, really big part of the course.
Good luck.
You'll catch me up in a minute.
You know about that.
Hiya.
Hiya.
Go.
Go.
Some people, if they're not in the right headspace, maybe thinking, oh, do you know what, I'll give it a go. That's why I say to people, whenever you're going into checkpoints, just see them as stinging nettles. You know, just hold on to your seat for like 15 seconds, then just go. Because if you're spending about 10 minutes at a checkpoint, 5 checkpoints, you've done almost an hour. So being in somewhere warm and then going back outside, if you spent a time in there, you're not going to want to carry on. Once they leave the Ty Coch, you can see right across to the Avon Mountains where the steps are hell at. It looks a lot further than 9 miles, which, unless you've recce'd it and so on, you think, oh my god, how far am I going to have to run now? What I like to do, you know, whenever you're after a race, you hear people talking about things, and you know, people would say, oh yeah, the steps, the weather, the terrain, well, the steps Llwybr, the terrain, or the views from Garn Fadryn, Ty Coch, and then the pub in Llwybr. Well, I'm going in between the seconds, that's why we're in between the seconds. We wanted to say, and then we went up the big hill, and we went up the steps, because it's going to be in the dark for a lot of them, heavily marshalled around that area, but it's just something for them to have an experience and an adventure, and then whenever they're running down from the steps, it's just glory, glory, hallelujah, we're out of that bit. A lot of people can go out too fast, a lot of people won't have anything left, and you can see a big shift sometimes in competitors who just blow up, they've got nothing left, or competitors who have been saving that little bit just to crack on down into Pwllheli.
Coke or anything to eat? You sure? You going?
It's the hardest thing I've ever done. Both quads were just cramping from before the big hill. I literally had to stop several times because they were just there was not a cat in hell's chance I was going to let him win. I'd rather die. He's faster than me round the track, so you know. After I set that record last year, I went to the track and I could tell he wasn't happy because he kicks my ass round the track.
What are your thighs doing now? Are we alright?
Oh,
you had him scared there for a while, Gwyn.
He made me work.
Got everything out of it.
Please tell me you were getting cramped or something like that. Yeah, towards the end, yeah.
Quite the boat bits before that big hill. It's just like
Without the Penllyn Ultras, though, I don't think I'd have the life that I do, because I like to create, even whenever you are struggling physically on a day when you're exhausted, having something as a hobby, and because it's a hobby that I don't physically have to get involved in, I still feel as if I'm a part of something. And I think that's what many cancer sufferers or anybody who has chronic illness feels, is as soon as you get that, you feel as if you're not part of humanity. You're having to distance yourself. So having the Penllyn Ultras and that community as well as my friends, family, that makes it all more doable.
And then I think a bit of a more sensitive question in terms of race directing and family. Do you think it changed the way you were perceived as a race director?
I read that question the other night, and I read it quite a lot, and I don't know if it has or it hasn't. You don't want it to be your legacy. You don't want to be, oh, that's Huw, he's got cancer. You want what you've done before that to have had such an impact that isn't the, if you got like Steve McQueen, famous actor, but he had cancer. Aretha Franklin, singer, but then had cancer. So you remember what they did before the illness. But you do get an imposter syndrome. Many a time whenever I'm tired, I don't feel as if should I be giving advice to runners about running? And then you think, well, hang on a minute, I have done that. So it's the power of thought again. I think for the last 3 years, I've served my apprenticeship with the power of thought, where I've always been quite a positive person, but I've had to put that into place a lot more, and I've learned tips and tricks with myself when to carry on and when just to take a step back.
How are you feeling?
I love what it does for our local community. I love the community, the running community that it includes. A bunch of more lovely people you would never meet.
Come on! Stephen in the house! Oh, fucking brilliant! Good lad! Flip for that. Well done, mate.
Come on, Stephen!
There we go, you did it. Well done. Excellent. She did it. Oh.